Listen, I get it. It's hard to leave a job, but when you're continuously being underpaid, undervalued, and underleveled, who's winning here? Not you, them. Hey, welcome back. It's your girl, Brittany, career coach. Should I make that a song? Let me stop. Welcome back. It's your girl, Brittany Hayles, and I am a career coach at Hayles Consulting. Today we are talking about signs that you need to leave your job, 6 of them to be specific. And according to my time, my invisible watch here, time is up. Time for you to leave your job because they're trifling. So by the end of this video, hopefully you have the courage to start your job search and really just go after that job that you absolutely deserve. Before we get started, please hit the subscribe button, okay? A lot of you guys are watching my videos over and over again, and I love that for you, but you will not be notified if you don't subscribe. So subscribe. It's free, it's fast, just do it now. And also follow me on all platforms. I respond, so if you guys message me, I'm gonna respond. I've had a lot of people message me and I respond, so they can vouch for me, okay? Let's get started. The first sign that you need to leave your job is that you're being underpaid while exceeding expectations. Some of you have been working in a job for years and have received 1 pay raise, maybe even no pay raise, and you're doing an excellent job. That is a problem. Your job is taking you for granted, which a lot of companies do. It's not okay to be working at a job for a considerable amount of years. You've shown your expertise, you're great at what you do, you keep being told that you're really good at what you do, and you're not being compensated accordingly, especially if you do research and you realize that you're being underpaid. This is definitely a sign that you need to leave and start a job search, because at the end of the day, compensation is extremely important, and you're giving these people your time and you want to be paid accordingly. So the second sign is that you are constantly working overtime without extra pay. Time is valuable and it is a currency because it is one of the only things in the world that we cannot get back. When you're continuously working overtime for your company and not being compensated, it is actually a virtual slap in the face. Literally. Now, some companies, historically, you're gonna work overtime. And overtime pay is just not a part of that industry. There are so many, finance, consulting, a lot of them. But because of this, they pump your salary. They pay you a really great salary and they pay you very well, provide you with bonuses and a bunch of other compensation. Now, let's say you're not in one of those industries with historically overtime and they don't pay, and you're in a low paying job, low salary, and they are still expecting for you to work overtime with no pay. That is a problem and a double slap in the face, because not only are they underpaying you, but they're not even paying you for how much you're working. It is not okay for you to consistently be working outside of that 9 to 5 schedule and not being compensated accordingly. So start your job search for a higher paying job, solo, or a higher paying job that provides overtime, because they're out there. So the third sign is that you're being asked to perform unethical tasks. This one is more common than we want to admit to, okay? And one thing about me and one thing that should be about you is that you should not be going to jail for anybody, especially not your company. So if they're asking you to do things that you know are against all government policies, all policies put by the higher ups in the company, things that you just know are going against your values, you have absolutely every right to start a job search, to look for a job that does not do that. And the only way that you're gonna know this is if you speak to other people within that industry and ask them for, how's your company? Do they ask you to do this? Get the real tea, because a lot of companies are out here asking people to perform unethical tasks, and that's a problem and not okay, and is absolutely a sign that you need to start your job search today. The fourth sign is that your position does not align with your interest. I will be the first person to say, and I say this all the time, you do not have to love your job, but you also shouldn't hate it, and it also shouldn't feel boring. If you go to work every day and you're like, oh my God, it feels like my eyes are falling out, I am falling asleep all the time, that's a problem, because that also is going to directly correlate with how you perform and a bunch of other things. So again, not that you need to love your job, but you should be somewhat interested or somewhat challenged or somewhat like your job. Something about it at least. So if you really do feel like your job is not aligning with your interests, start thinking about what are you interested in? What can you see yourself doing? And start a job search for that position. Because once you're interested, you're ultimately going to perform better, which just opens so many other doors at your company. The fifth sign is that you are constantly being denied promotions. If you are continuously exceeding expectations, you're always being told how well you're doing, all the above, positive rave reviews about your performance. When you go into that room, they just keep denying you promotions, that's a problem. At that point, they're basically gaslighting you, which is not okay, but happens at companies all the time. I don't promise a lot of things, but I can promise you that there is a company that is willing to promote you and give you a way better title and a higher compensation. So if this is a case where you know for years you've been working at your company and there has not been a promotion in sight, and you're tired, it's time to look for that job search. It's time to start a job search for a company that you know promotes at a high rate, at a company that values its employees, at a company where people are growing and you're seeing them go from assistant to senior level really quickly. Think about them and apply. So the final sign is that your work is no longer challenging. A lot of times you spend all this money on all these degrees, now you got these student loans, and you went to school to learn this extreme craft, and you go into work and you're just not being challenged enough by what you learned. It can be damaging to your ego and your confidence because it's like, I did all of this to just do the bare minimum. It's not fair. So if you're feeling like that, this is definitely an opportunity for you to consider starting a job search. And now on the other end of that, I will say, if you're somebody who's looking to become an entrepreneur, or you have a 9-to-5 while having a 5-to-9, which is basically a business on the side, not having challenging work could actually be to your benefit. Because if you're not necessarily challenged at work, that means you probably have the brain power after work to work on your business. It's a catch-22. It could be a good thing or a really bad thing. But if it's a bad thing for you and you really are just feeling so unmotivated and not challenged by your work, it's not good because it's going to show up in your performance because you're bored. So definitely consider starting that job search for more challenging work, for a higher performing team, or just feeling like for a job that you know for certain is going to bring you much more fulfillment and much more challenging work. Now you may be saying to yourself, how do I leave? That's a great question. The first thing I would recommend is that you do research on which companies are the exact opposite of what you're trying to leave. Whatever you're experiencing that you do not like about your current job, do research before trying to push yourself or get into another company, because you may never know. You may leave and might end up experiencing the same thing. So do research, talk to people, watch YouTube videos. A lot of people talk about their experience at companies, so definitely do that research. And then the second thing is just to remain transparent with your job. You know, if your job has policies around when you need to put in your notice or when you need to let them know that you're leaving, do that. Because all these people in these industries talk to each other, and if you leave in a shady way, it will not look good. It is so important that you take ownership of your career, especially when you feel like you're being underpaid and undervalued, because even though on the surface level it just looks like another day, after a series of time you may be losing thousands of dollars, and being undervalued could significantly impact your mental health. So make sure you're taking any challenges and any doubts in your mind seriously and start that job search, because you deserve to be paid and you deserve to be valued. Thank you all again so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe and also like this video. And if you have any topics you want me to cover in future videos, please let me know. I am a career coach, so reach out to me if you have any questions, you want to set up a service. I have career chats where we can literally, you can just use the entire session to vent to me about what's going on, and I can provide you advice to the best of my ability. It's a pleasure making these videos for you guys, so definitely share them with anyone who you know would benefit from them, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.